Is Lee Robinson here? I can see David Lawrence. David, do you want to come forward and give your submission now? It's page 185.
Thank you, Leanne, fellow councillors, or other councillors I should say, and my name's David Lawrence and I'm submitting today to the long-term plan centred around the social housing issues. And I need to say at the start that basically I think we need to build more social housing and the council needs to get involved in it, and probably the easiest way to be able to do that is to increase the rates. Anyway, more of that later. The council's got a good record of building social houses, but in recent times the number of units has actually reduced while the demand has skyrocketed. Now, you all know there's been a lot of publicity about homelessness, and thankfully the government's finally going to do something about it. I think it's been embarrassing. Well, it is embarrassing. We have one of the highest rates in the world. In fact, Yale Global Online said that New Zealand has the worst per capita homelessness in the OECD. We're twice what Auckland is and twice what Sydney's is. We're even higher than New York. It's a terrible situation. However, there's a bigger and more major concern, I think, that's looming on the horizon, and it's been under the radar for some time. It's the growing number of pensioners, and also included there the physically and mentally disadvantaged people who need accommodation. And that is a big issue. In the last year, 2,000 pensioners got accommodation supplements, 2,000 extra pensioners. The Salvation Army report that the number of people requiring accommodation help will treble to 100,000. These are pensions I'm talking about, by 2025, and by 2030, over 200,000 pensioners won't own a house, and they won't be able to afford rent. At the moment, 25% of retirees get accommodation supplements, and 30% still have mortgages, and these numbers are on the increase. They're still increasing. There's a desperate need for single and double bedroom units, basically. And it's probably more so in single. There are a lot of widows and single people that are finding trouble paying rents and finding reasonable accommodation. One of the issues that I think the council has is this ring fencing of rates, and I think that's got to go. It's old hat, basically. 70s, 80s, 90s speak. Today, the average citizen or ratepayer doesn't really comprehend, I think, that the council even supplies rentals. Half of them don't know that you own a lot of rentals, or that they're not interested. And they wouldn't know that they're ring fenced and the council has never actually put money into them. They probably don't even understand that about how the repair, maintenance and upgrade and management is all paid for out of the rents that you receive. And I think it's a concern that you people have about not making it public, that you can build more housing and it can be paid for out of rates. I think you sweat unnecessarily over rate increases. And one of the things that I'm proposing, and I hope you'll take something on board, that we have a very low rates anyway compared to other cities around New Zealand. We have an ideal excuse at the moment about the lack of government and insurance monies leaving big shortfalls for the earthquake damage. And so there's no need to sweat over 5.5% rate increases. I think you should get your PR machine running and talk about 10% rate rises, and then cut it back to 7.5% and stuff like that. And that way, you're going to have a couple of extra 2% to spend on housing. It's very easy. And I'm sure you'll all get re-elected. Basically, all you're going to get is a few letters to the editor of some of these people complaining about spending money on housing. But that's tomorrow's fish and chip paper. And don't be afraid of a small vocal minority. Ask your conscience what you and your fellow citizens want. Nowadays, it's a reasonable expectation that every last citizen has a right to a roof over their heads and a warm, affordable home. Rates are just another tax, and in some ways it's a very socialistic tax, which is a good thing because the rich pay a bit more, or the bigger houses owners pay a bit more. And just to put a small proportion to help the less able to be housed should be a priority. So I'm asking you to put a social housing plan in the long-term plan and to increase the rates to pay for it. Any questions?
It's a bit late for that, sorry. The time's up, so thank you very much for your submission, and we'll move on to